All right. Welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here to just dive in to current goings on in WWE, some other minor, promotions, TNA, AW, kind of whatever we spin our proverbial web into as far as content. So we'll kind of get things going first. So we have this continued whole Liv Morgan charade, um, basically wrapping herself into the Judgment Day business. And thus far, it seems to be Liv Morgan is paying dividends for said Judgment Day. As far as, you know, you have JD and Finn basically winning the titles because Liv's like, hey, I'll get you a shot, right? So she talks to R-Truth, and R-Truth does what R-Truth does, and no one knows. He's like a freaking spinner on a freaking table. You don't know
He's
what
a
you're gonna get,
child.
where it's gonna land. So, so they get their match, they win the title. So now we sit with Judgment Day having 3 titles, or I guess 2 titles, how it was before. I guess technically they did have the North American for a hot second. But so what are your guys' take on this current Liv Morgan? I wouldn't even call it a revenge tour anymore. I feel like it's just the plot, it continues to thicken, um, and how much she's involved. So, like, what are your guys' take? Like, what's the take on, this whole Liv Morgan helping the Judgment Day essentially?
So Liv Morgan is actually turning out to be the actual villain of the story as opposed to Rhea Ripley. And it's probably a good place. It's probably one of the first, it's not the first time, but it's in recent memory within the last year or so that she's been given this opportunity to really have a story and really build into it. And I think it works for her. Rhea, congratulations, getting married. Um, she's
Hell
healing up
yeah.
her arm and all kinds of other stuff. So it's good entertainment. It's good fodder for just having her do something. Um, yeah, yeah, it's Liv Morgan. I mean,
She
yeah,
really hasn't been able to have much storylines in her tenure with WWE. So I feel like, sometimes you just run what you run. I mean, a lot of wrestlers, Seth Rollins in particular, like basically talked to CM Punk about, you know what, I did some shitty gimmicks, but I'm still here and I show up. So like I feel like that's Liv Morgan's story right now. And I feel like this particular moment in her career in WWE, she's finally kind of getting her shot and hitting her stride and doing it well. So honestly, like I tip my hat to Liv Morgan. I feel like, sometimes it takes a while for you to hit your stride in the business, and I feel like she's knocking it out of the park right now. So
I totally agree. I think she's doing good for the time being while Rhea's out. And congrats to her and
buddy,
what's buddy.
buddy.
Their wedding their wedding looked beautiful. I like the black theme. I thought it was
I mean,
great.
it's very them.
Oh yeah. They're like the gothic people. Shit, the wedding's awesome. I thought it was great as shit. It's a lot better than some of these other doll weddings out there. They
Oh
got to
well,
spice it up a little bit.
right.
Well, I am
So
happy she's carrying the title. I think she will some way make her way into the Judgment Day, and then Rhea will come in and take her
I
out.
mean,
yeah.
maybe I think honestly, I think there's division amongst Judgment Day, and I feel like
Definitely.
Liv Morgan is just like, you know how you have a crack and it slowly gets worse and worse? I feel like she's like that little tack hammer just slowly, methodically, chipping away at Judgment Day because obviously she's paid dividends thus far. And so, I think even Damien kind of, he's not for, he's not against. So, I think I think we're gonna find out. Obviously, I think in the near future. Once Rhea comes back, obviously where things truly sit. Um, so we'll move to the Money in the Bank qualifiers thus far. So in the men's at the juncture right now, we're basically waiting on one person. Obviously, there's you know one slot for the men's, one slot for the women's. Um, you know, could honestly be anybody. It's it's kind of a toss up, honestly. So like on Raw, they're gonna basically have kind of the what's left over for the slot. Same thing for SmackDown for the women. So I mean, I'm not all that impressed with the women's, Money in the Bank ladder match at this juncture. I'm really not. It's you got Io Sky, Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, Chelsea Green, and Lyra Valkyria. Ah, you so
How
you
many
bas-
spots are left?
so there's one spot left. So
Yeah.
really, Chelsea Green not gonna happen. Naomi,
Maybe.
not Io Sky. I'm good. I don't think her winning a championship again or having the Money in the Bank again. I'm not buying it. I feel like it's gonna be an upstart, either Lyra Valkyria or Tiffany Stratton or maybe whoever the mystery six, person is. Um, so as far as Money in the Bank, we'll kind of graze over Raw. I mean, Raw was just a giant, Liv Morgan show. We had kind of glimmers of, now they're kind of trickling in Wyatt Six storyline with Bo Dallas kind of interviewing himself, I guess. Like, what is your guys' take on like that segment as far as because I watched it, but I didn't watch it. As far as the interview portion, what are your guys' take on them kind of psychoanalyzing Bo Dallas as it is?
I I like it. His interview with Bull Dallas, actually speaking, not as Bull Dallas, his story and the way he spoke tugged at the strings of the heart. And I can understand where he's coming from with losing a brother or whatever. But yeah, that they're going really deep into this story, and I like it.
I'm still not into the Wyatt Six or whatever they're calling
Yeah.
themselves. However, I think with that whole segment with Bo Dallas interviewing himself and the responses that people are giving it's good television. So it just gives you another layer to what that group or that faction will bring, hopefully, and how entertaining and engaging they will be with people. It's still not something that I'm like really like into,
I
but
think until it
yeah,
hits its stride, no one's gonna really be fully invested. I feel like,
right.
until they're cracking heads and, doing something in the physical variety in the ring or, something in the back or something. I feel like, okay, cool, we got them. But now, like, what do you do with them? Where do you fit them? Because I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the interest factor is that what are they gonna do? Like, okay, I'm all like, and obviously the interview was very heartfelt. It was very genuine, kind of, you know, conversation. But like, you know, it's essentially okay. We all know what happened. We all know how because obviously if anybody watched the documentary and everything, we know the depth of it. But like now we're moving forward, and now we have Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six and everything. We have him here, so now we want a byproduct of you presenting the Wyatt Six, and I
Right.
think that's I think where a lot of people lie. It was like, all right, cool, they're here, but now what? And I think that's a lot of returns. Any group faction, anything person returns, it's always a now what scenario. Like, okay, what are you going to do now that you're here?
Mhm.
So So I would say probably the bigger story on Raw, honestly. So Seth freaking Rollins decides to return, looking like Cruella de Vil and shit. But it's so, and he can pull off
Oh,
anything.
man,
But
I was
like,
say his outfits are some
yeah,
of his outfits are on point. I like them.
oh dude, but like
I
wearing
want
the
him to bring
highest,
if
wearing
he
the
ever
highest
comes back.
heels.
If he does ever bring a nice, good fashion outfit back, he needs to bring those big red
Oh,
boots back.
the boots like the
Mario
boots on
boots.
the freaking Dora the Explorer.
Astro
Yeah,
Boy. Those
yeah.
the Astro
You know
Boy
what,
boots.
dude? Like,
he needs to bring
dude,
those
like
back.
he could never wrestle and just come out and talk for 10 minutes in whatever outfit he comes on, and I'm freaking entertained.
What's
So-
funny
Yeah.
since he's brung those when he brung those out, I've been seeing those damn things all over freaking TikTok everywhere. Everywhere was buying them. I even seen somebody in person
Dude,
wearing those damn
because
things.
Rollins is a trender, man. He's a trender. But so what? Okay, so what's the take? Like, what is Seth Rollins returning in basically kind of essentially? I mean, he's getting his rematch, but it seems like to a lot of people he's jumping the line. As far as him facing Damian. Now, here's an A or B question. So let's go with A. Seth Rollins loses, puts over Damian, and Damian looks stronger than ever. Or B. Seth beats Damian, and Damian kind of gets looked at as that placeholder champion.
Tim, do you want A or B?
I'm gonna go with A.
All right.
Yeah. So
Because I don't see Damian Priest leaving the Judgment Day that quick. Because that's
Yeah,
what's on the
'cause-
line. If he
yeah, it has a
loses, he
stip.
has to leave. But
Yeah.
if Seth loses, he can't ever he won't go go after him as the champion. But I think Damian's gonna keep the title, and
But
he's
what,
not.
you
They're
know,
not gonna have him leave the Judgment Day that quick.
So
what a twist if it did happen, though.
So
what,
yeah,
like,
so I
If
will
it does
take the
happen,
B.
I'll be
take the B
like
on this.
shocked.
You
Yeah,
know,
I'll
anything can
take
happen.
the B on this. So the B is Damian does lose, and he loses in such a way that JD and Finn turn on him, you know, and you know he doesn't have any more leverage or anything like that, or it's a sabotage with Liv Morgan. It's like, you need me, and I'm the only reason why you didn't win, because you got me away from the ring. I could have helped you win. For Seth, it sets up potentially a championship match between Seth
Gunther.
and Gunther. Yep. We already know that Gunther's the next world champion. It's
100%.
100%.
Yeah, it's either WrestleMania or
Oh, dude,
Survivor
it's
Series.
something.
If they don't,
something.
if they don't give Gunter the championship at SummerSlam, I'm gonna be pissed.
You know what?
They can't make that stipulation as a new stipulation of winning King in the Ring if he doesn't win. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, dude. I don't care between Seth or Damian. Whoever wins doesn't matter to me. Damian might win, hold on to it, but guess what? You know who's gonna beat the hell out of him? Chop that chest? The freaking ring. Oh, sorry, the King General. Okay,
He will
chop
I
him
just
into the next Judgment Day. Okay, because
it's who is going to give the better match for Gunther? Is it Seth Rollins or
I
is
think
it Damian
Damian.
Priest? I think
I'm gonna say Damian Priest.
yeah, you know what? I think Seth, with his experience in those types of matches, could be just as fun as watching. It would be more fun watching than Damian. However, I think for Damian's character, I think it should be Damian that goes one-on-one. He's not going to get those big moments now, and all of this has been a really good payoff. But I do think Damian, for me personally, has not been a strong enough champion because of the backstage theatrics and shenanigans and everything with Liv. If Rhea wasn't hurt and she still had her title, I think we would have saw another direction with the Judgment Day as opposed to what we're getting right now. Maybe more friction. We don't need Liv. I think we would have had some different opportunities than what we're getting. But in general, I think Gunther is next in line, and he should be. And if he's not, I'm okay with that because he's such a presence that it is his. So, I think everyone is in agreement that Gunther wins at SummerSlam.
If he does it, Gunther's gonna show that he is someone, and he is a big threat to that title, Damian Priest. He's gonna make Damian Priest watch his back.
I think Gunther and Damian Priest, that program is probably going to be. It's going to go slower in the sense of the buildup for it. It's not good because I don't see Damian Priest the same type of wrestling purist as Gunther is positioned as. I don't know if Gunther even has a finisher, and he just uses whatever to win. And I think that should be
he has that strong power slam.
He has that. I think that power slam he has is his.
That power slam.
That is his finisher.
So
that's his finisher. They don't give it a name, but that's kind of what his finisher is.
Strowman has a power slam too. So, but I digress. I think Damian versus Gunther at SummerSlam is probably an easy bet to make. But I wouldn't rule out a Seth Rollins versus Gunther. But Seth Rollins not having a title for CM Punk, I'm all about that.
Now just so before we kind of move to the next thing, I mean, do you what do you take on? Because I know obviously this stuff started with CM Punk and Drew on Raw and ended on SmackDown. Before we really touch into SmackDown, holy hell, Drew, and I don't care how many blood capsules you take, dude, CM Punk got beat the brakes off, by Drew, dude, and I absolutely love this story. I love it because basically Drew quits on Monday, shows back up on Friday or whatever. Obviously, and basically kind of more or less pleaded with Aldis or Adam Pearce about, a lot of people say a lot of things, and I think that was a stab at AJ Styles inadvertently, but where does this end?
It doesn't. I think
CM
this is
Punk
just
has to be cleared eventually. At least SummerSlam.
He probably is cleared if Drew tagged him. I'm gonna say he is cleared.
I thought it was the Bloodline that attacked CM Punk.
No.
Literally, Drew showed up. The garage door opened up with him literally standing over.
But that doesn't mean that Drew actually did the deed. You know what I'm saying?
On his hands.
He did. He did. CM Punk did piss off the Bloodline. They probably did attack him, and left him back.
And we don't know what happened behind the gate. We don't. know.
Left him back there.
And that's what I'm getting at. We don't.
Maybe Drew's in cahoots. Maybe
Drew probably did. Drew probably did get some punches in on him.
Yeah,
he's down.
I mean, what if some longevity, something down the road, maybe Damian goes and Drew joins. Pipe dream. But wouldn't that be honestly, if you think about it, think of how the things are going with Damian, and he really kind of I don't need you guys, 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 and they keep on getting involved. Obviously, he's going to take the help because he's a pussy. But I just wouldn't that be just an absolute mind blown? Just Drew joins the Judgment Day after all the crap he ends up joining. That's a pipe dream. That's a hypothetical. That's just pontification at the highest level. But like, what would that look like? I mean, like seriously, if Damian went on his own and Drew joins, like Drew and Purple,
I can't imagine that.
it's all hypothetical.
Because Drew is so far removed from a Judgment Day's involvement. What I see is I see Damian going on his own. I see Rhea coming back to, for Liv. I see Dominic staying with Rhea.
Well, definitely.
Yeah. I just like watching that.
Can we do a Dom fight for custody? Come on, we need that match. That is the pipe dream
do
of
that
all of us
round
on this
two?
panel right now.
Do we really think that Liv can beat Rhea? No, we don't. It's no.
Who knows? Who knows? We are in
what
La La Land.
She got married and she got soft. Rhea did. Is that what you're implying?
No. I think it'll be a great match.
You
Two beautiful women beating the shit out of each other.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if Liv beats Rhea, that's gonna put Liv like way the hell up here. Like that's a career maker. Like if that happens.
Here's the only way I think that scenario comes up and it plays 100% into real life, and that is if Rhea decides she wants to start a family. That's it. That's the only way. If Rhea is like, I need a year off.
She wants buddies to swim upstream.
She wants new buddies in her life, and
yeah, but then she'll just be 10 times as.
Hey! Listen. She has all this time on her hands. She probably been getting some of that jiggy with him.
Oh God! You too.
Watch you get knocked up on her honeymoon.
Like cue Val Venus's music.
Oh, Mark Henry's sexual chocolate music.
Oh
hello,
my God,
ladies.
Man. Oh man.
Oh, I digress.
So I'm glad they don't watch us because they'd be like, "What the hell are these freaking 2-3 dudes freaking talking about, man?"
Oh, yeah.
We should have. You know what? We should create like intro music for all of us on the panel. We'll like slowly like scheme in everybody in spots and. I don't know what mine would be, but we all know what Fedor's would be.
Yep. This is turning. We would just be a 3-person menace to like
give me Sheamus's music.
Yep. Every pro wrestling podcast.
Buying her after buying her.
I do wear one of his hats.
Oh goodness. Okay, so we were talking about Judgment Day, Drew McIntyre joining, pontificating, ranting about that. I don't see it, and I can't imagine how that comes back around.
But it doesn't mean I don't want to see it. Like I would say, it's highly unlikely. It's very highly unlikely. I mean, Drew's such a loner. Like the last time he was in a group was in 3MB. So I mean, I don't think.
Oh God, that was just terrible.
I don't see Drew being a part of a group anytime soon, other than the people that collectively hate the Judgment Day and Bloodline.
If he's ever going to be,
pretty much the whole locker room. So I mean,
if he's ever going to be in a group, I could see him maybe being in like a type of group with Sheamus.
Yep, that's 100% that.
Those two
bring
kids.
Back Heath Slater. I have kids.
Oh my God!
What? If we were gonna do a group,
is he still over in TNA?
I don't know where he is.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's doing something. He has kids to provide for.
Yep, he does. So I want to see.
Kids.
I could see Sheamus,
I need to get that shirt.
Finn, and Drew. I could see all 3 of them.
Drew.
Drew,
I think
Finn and Sheamus. I could see.
I mean, now what
that,
about
or maybe add Gunter
JD in there though? What if you throw JD?
JD,
like JD, Finn, like I mean, dude, that'd be like freaking slobber knocker status, dude. Like Drew, Sheamus, Finn, and JD. Like, I mean, freaking international freaking bangers. International
Alpha
Bangers. That's what
Alpha
they call their group. They're
Bangers.
the International Bangers.
I want to see. I could see any of those combinations of those four men. However,
Except for JD is he's just the bag boy. He just carries the bags.
he hasn't
He's
come
the-
into
he's
his
the
own.
bag
He
bitch.
needs a few matches or a storyline or something where he can show what he is capable of and having the presence to get that across, because he wouldn't be on the main roster if he wasn't talented enough. And I think it's a shame when you're stuck with this group and you're trying to get,
It's kind of
You're
like
just,
being part of the
you know-
Lions for the last 20 years until up till now.
Yep. Yeah. So if you've made it through all the cuts as a Detroit Lions football player, and you get to where you got to last year,
You're
Yeah,
still on the
that's-
roster, so you're good enough.
yes, you're still on the roster. You're good enough. You're still in the league, and you make the league minimum, so you can say I am a football player.
Right.
So that's kind of JD. At the same time, what I think JD is missing is he's missing that story that gets him into the public eye as someone who can go. It's kind of like how people thought of Chad Gable. He's good in the
G.
ring. He's good in the ring, but he's boring. You know what I'm saying? His character is boring.
He
He's good in the
doesn't- he-
ring.
He
You know,
lacks the charisma like Kurt Angle had.
yeah.
Because
But-
he's running kind of basically the same gimmick. It's just Kurt Angle just did it better.
Kurt Angle, is an exceptional athlete
With
to
a
be
broken
able to,
freaking neck, man.
Yeah, with a broken freaking neck. So, the difference is that I think with JD, he's going to be a long-term work in progress to get him over with people and get people to be able to see his work ethic and his work rate, unlike someone like an Ilya Dragunov or a Carmelo Hayes. You know what I'm saying? They have that charisma. They have a very identifiable it factor. With JD, it's kind of, he just blends in, and he needs a
Right.
story or two that can get him to break out
Well,
of
and
that.
he's considered the Irish ace, and so they really, if he's gonna break out, they need to play on that, And so I think, like you said, he's like wallpaper that's just bland, but he's there. He's
Right.
he's got just enough to be there, and I think honestly, I mean, I you have a lot of these smaller wrestlers that have talent given the right story.
Right.
Because you have Ilya, who's literally he's 5 foot nothing. You have New Kaiser Republic. Those dudes are tiny. I mean, even Finn really isn't that big.
Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, you
May-
have
maybe
you have
it's-
DIY. They're pretty small. I mean, and
Maybe
so
it's something along the lines, we just grab all of these performers that are apparently under a certain weight class, and we make a story where we can really get
kind of
them up.
almost like bring back 205 Live. I
Yeah.
mean,
At-
because I mean we have superstars that they play for like in a half an hour before main shows and stuff, but I feel like, or maybe they just need to excel in NXT. Because it sucks because we're very saturated with an exuberant amount of talent, and I feel like NXT, yes, it's kind of been developmental and stuff like that, but I feel like no one's going to truly shine because you think about it, NXT is 2 hours, SmackDown is 2 hours. So clearly they have plenty of time to do something with more talent. And I think as sad as it is, some of these people, I mean, we want the larger than life, personas. We want the larger than life wrestlers, and it's tough because okay, so Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman got beat by Chad Gable. That in reality, that shit doesn't happen, right? I mean, okay, but situational. But I mean, but I really think the fact that he just did a over the head, he just did a moonsault for the tag. I feel like that was a very shoddy. If he was gonna do his finisher, that would have been more believable than, oh, I just did a moonsault on Bronson Reed and won. Like,
So
that's not believable.
so it's kind of like with the believability of the win, it's it's like a heel tactic. It's just like, the heel took advantage of a down man and, got the win. But it also, it set up us to have another Bray Wyatt moment in regards to how the show flowed for people watching it. So do I
But do you
think it was
think that's not,
believable?
but like
No, I really
they could
do
have
think,
done that angle without him winning a match. They could have had him lose and be
yeah.
walking away and had that situation happen.
You know what?
Like,
Agreed. But they wanted him in the Money in the Bank. And you know what? After
think he'd
getting
be-
smacked in the head or having some blood coming down on the side of your head the prior week is
you
like, no, you should not be in Money in the Bank
Well,
at
and
all.
they didn't because they rushed everything, because a lot of YouTubers and stuff have all said the exact same thing, almost in unison, that they rushed him going into any match. They didn't. There was no believability to what happened. You downplay the severity of what about the Wyatt Six did to him specifically, because he was the center point of the whole thing. And you, when you don't even let that fester in any way, shape, or form, like Nikki Cross coming out at the end doesn't do anything for the severity of what happened. You coming
Yeah,
out and going to just crawling over, and then like that's nothing.
I totally agree. They should have not even had him in the match. They should have had him like for this week, like what happened, look into it, and keep it like give people updates on how he's doing in the hospital
Yeah.
or some type of shit
Let
like
it
that.
cook.
And then
Let the story cook.
let it build up for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then have him come back or something.
I mean, hell, have a match with him.
Yeah.
What about
challenge the person that
that
attacked him.
what about, okay, let's pipe dream this. So what if they screw him over in the Money in the Bank? Who do you think they would have face? Let's say Chad Gable, and who faces him at SummerSlam? Do you think that would culminate? They screw him over again, and now he wants some blood. He wants a match. I don't think they would directly go Uncle Howdy.
No, it's
But,
either
I would
it's
say
definitely Dexter Loomis or
Joe
Joe
Gacy.
Gacy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Joe.
I mean, because wouldn't
Yeah.
because then that'd be like, okay, cool. Now this shit's gonna happen, and then they watch him just go into the match and beat him in like a minute and a half. That'd be, and then all of a sudden Chad's written off TV for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, because they come out and they beat the hell out of him after the match, and then you let that true psychological, like, what happened. Chad's all of a sudden now he's totally losing his mind because everything
Right.
happened so quick, and now all this, now then you can let it fester, let it cook, that psychological aspect of what happened. Because Chad
Yeah.
can come,
I totally agree.
Because like he comes back, that's cool.
Somebody's
but like, is his psyche though? Is his psyche good though?
somebody has to be hurt. So they must have had different creative plans with Chad Gable not being in the picture. Somebody got hurt. They're not saying who or announced it or anything like that. And they had to pivot to this. That seems to be the only logical explanation of why we're getting Chad Gable right now.
I mean, but like they have a roster. I just feel like they could have thrown anybody in and just had them lose or whatever. And maybe that's not what they wanted, because they really want to push like this miracle that Chad Gable is, from, surviving the Wyatt Six. But I think the Wyatt Six are targeting Chad Gable, and that is absolutely it right now.
Yeah, maybe
I don't think there's.
yeah.
I just don't see any plans in it. And this is again back to the what now. If they don't start doing things, physically in the next like couple weeks, like we're gonna get bored with it. It's and it sucks, because it's like you did this whole crazy theatric. I mean, no one expected how severe that Wyatt Six coming out was. But now you've done nothing with it. And if you don't start doing something physical with it, it's all for nothing, unfortunately. You guys can't wait. WWE cannot waste the heat, the popularity that it is right now with just these little trickle interviews or this little slight people coming out. They gotta be bigger.
We'll find out tomorrow on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
let's.
I just don't know how it only ended up on Raw.
So it's got to be about their cookbook. It's just got to be about what.
I mean,
they've
obviously,
got scheduled
SmackDown has the bloodline stuff going on and all that. So obviously, the Judgment Day, and like all of SmackDown's a pretty stacked, things. So I mean, I get it. There really wouldn't be much for them on SmackDown,
No.
but it's just like it's just disappointing because like you think something that severe would be getting fucking everybody, would be just going down the list, dude. But they're just on one brand. I'm like, okay, now you're to the point. Now
Maybe
you're
it's
to the
a
point where
waiting
it's like,
game. Maybe we've got this set up because maybe it's not the time, and we'll get something like that around Survivor Series.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, and I think it's that slow burn that they found success.
They've been QR coding us to death.
Plus, we're still waiting for that
last
that last member.
Like we've been getting QR coded to death. That there's been enough freaking cooking, dude. The chicken's in the oven and it's burning right now. Because
I think
like
that's
it's gonna wear out. It's gonna wear me out of my interest. Like because you're already not even on the boat of interest in Wyatt 6. So if it doesn't have you, and it doesn't have me, sorry Tim, I guess you're the only one left. Because
I think you're still interested in it, Seth. But at the same time, I've never been into it. The whole wearing of the mask and things with Bray Wyatt. It's just not been for me. I'm not the target audience, so it's okay for me to say like
you have Tim full invest, me partial, and you none. So
I'm just the oddball over here.
but
you know what you like, Tim.
It's really tough when you QR code us to death for what 3, 4, 5 months. And then it happens and it's extravagant and it's amazing and it's like boom, boom, pow. And then we do all this and then we're just coasting. We're coasting on what could be, not what is.
I am sitting here trying to like think about how and why it's moving at the pace that it's moving. And logically we can come up with a whole bunch of like plausible reasons why, but at the end of the day I think it's part of the WWE cookbook. If we give you everything, there's nothing for you to come back to. So yeah, we're dragging this out,
but this is it's like buying one ingredient at a time. Like
it is like buying one ingredient at the time, but at the same time there are a lot of reasons why they want you to come back week after week and they tease you. I mean, it's just it's that new way of marketing. They saw a lot of success with the Bloodline and how they let the story just evolve. They took their time with
evolve. The whole thing. I
think with the whole Wyatt 6, I think they're slowly doing what they did with the Wyatt family. They didn't show them every week. They stole them like a little bit at a time before they start popping them more on the TV.
But I mean, but the Wyatt family thing, like that wasn't as gruesome and as mental as it is now. And so like that was just more about like, here comes these big freaking dudes, and then they kind of slowly pushed it into the stories. But like we've gotten a lot more build and a lot more, let's call it, toppings of this pizza that is the Wyatt 6. So we've gotten all this to us now, and now we get what we get, and now it's like they turn the oven down, and now it's cooking very slowly. And maybe it is all about the end product. There's an angle in there, and we all know it. It's coming. It's just we as fans, when we've invested so much time and energy, we want what we want, and that's just what it is. And unfortunately, WWE does their own thing. They have their own cookbook. We don't know which one they're cooking. We don't know which meal we're getting, and that's just the straight reality of it. Um,
Yeah, we
so
don't know
let's
we don't know what the Rock is cooking.
exactly.
Right.
So
Ooh.
so we'll kind of drift. I mean, we're kind of essentially still in Bloodline BS, but like, so the beginning of SmackDown, the absolute holy hell, the TV basically got muted from a whole lot of holy shits. So, like, wow. Like that is an intense setup. That was an intense exchange. That was basically the Bloodline kind of getting their come ups, dude. I could not believe Kevin Owens swantoned him through a table. And this is just the beginning of the show. Like, holy. At least he hit the table this time, unlike the one time that he completely missed the
missed.
table and about freaking gave himself about 20 concussions. But man, and I think honestly for me, anything with Randy Orton, I'm buying. I
Same
honestly
here.
like Randy Orton. He just has that presence. Doesn't matter if he's playing a heel face heel, feely hate. Like, it doesn't matter what Randy Orton does. He's freaking Randy Orton. He's his own. He's his own like category. Because you can get nice Randy. That's making jokes, but he gets in the ring, bro, and he's a freaking viper.
Yeah, he's a
And so, like, I
he's a
think,
different person.
yeah, I mean, and man, and then you toss Kevin Owens in there, you toss Cody in there, you kind of protect the championship at this, obviously at this juncture with the PLE. They kind of seem to bounce back and forth as far as who's doing what, but and so now you have this, this 3-on-3 from Money in the Bank, and I mean, obviously, being that it's 3-on-3, they're probably going to have it. It's going to end up like a no holds barred or a street
yeah.
fight, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I always love how they so you have basically a no holds barred match, no disqualification matches. Like, essentially, like, they're all the same thing. They just name them something different. Like, it's gonna be like the Toronto Street Fight or something, or they're just gonna gimmick it up, and it's like, dude, it's just a no disqualification match. That's it. That's all they are. Every one of them.
I think we
Like,
need
the
more
only ones
gimmick
that are
matches.
different is when there's like a false count anywhere. Other than that, like, every no DQ match still has to end up in the ring for a pin, unless it's a false count anywhere. But
Just as a side note, a little tangent, if you will. Do we need more gimmick matches? I want to have more gimmick matches.
like, you talking about like stipulations?
No, just straight up gimmick matches, like like what was it? In the Divas area where they had a kiddie pool filled with baby oil, and everybody wrestled in their undergarments,
Yes.
or
I want baby oil.
Yeah,
And ladies.
you know what?
Oh, hold on. You might end up getting that because Raw, it's going to Netflix and it's going to be uncensored.
Yeah,
All right,
so
cool.
I want more gimmick matches. I want to see
Zelina Vega in oil.
You know
and
what?
Rhea Ripley in oil.
You might not get that. All right, Seth.
Hey, it's going to non-rated, man.
You know what?
I'm going to speak for the people. Speak for the people.
I've been to a live event on SmackDown. Watch one of those mud pie pool matches with Tori Wilson and I can't think of her name. She was dating Tori Wilson's dad at the time.
Oh, man.
I can't remember her name. It was a Halloween episode I was at.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
That was a good match.
But see, the only issue with that though is that, like, the irony of women's wrestling in WWE is that, so they started out as a very limited crowd, of females, and it was they had the women's championship back in the day, and then they dialed them out to be divas, and then now we're going back to the women's division, and so I don't think Netflix will push back. The women are already in skimpy enough clothes as is. I don't think you can really short of them having bra and panty matches, I really
I don't think they're
like,
gonna do that. I think it's just gonna be
so
more like uncensored with all the swearing and stuff because lately with the audience are swearing and they have to censor it and we
oh,
can't hear
dude,
what the hell's
it's
going on.
great when you're
I think
there,
that's the
though,
reason.
dude. It's so
I
great
think
when
that's the
you're
reason
there.
why they're doing the uncensored on Netflix.
Yeah, I anything to keep people engaged and keep their numbers up so they can
I don't know.
monetize the program.
There's things
Yeah.
I've been seeing on Facebook. A lot of some people are happy with it. Some people are just pissed off about it. All these women work so hard to get where they're at now. Now it's going to go back because of that. I'm like, I don't think it's going to affect the women. I think it's just more they're going to have it uncensored
I
for
don't
we can
think
actually hear the
it's
fucking
more. Yeah,
show with the fans swearing.
it's more about the language demographic than it
That's what
is
I
the
think.
physical demographic.
You know, especially when
I don't think we're gonna end up with just like titties flying everywhere and it becoming friggin' NR.
and that's not the
I
type
think
of
it's just
gimmick.
vocally.
That's not the type of gimmick I want. I'm talking about like, hey, there's
You said oil and women, and you just
all right. First of all, yes, I would like to see. I would enjoy. I'm not going to turn it off if it's on my TV, but it's not like the only gimmick match, you know. But I want to see more gimmick
be like
matches.
this to the screen.
Yep. Yeah. I do want to see more.
Mark Henry's theme coming on in the background.
Yep. It's on it's on my phone.
Let Frederick finish out his point, man. Holy crap!
I think gimmick matches are a great way to bring a level of entertainment to people that are may not understand the variety of entertainment that you can get from professional wrestling. Second of all, I think gimmick matches could be a good way to showcase certain wrestlers who don't get the same types of pushes that others get. An example, we were just talking about JD McDonough not getting, not having the right types of opportunities to show what he's capable of as an athlete, as a professional wrestler, and along with other performers as well, like more specifically kind of like an R-Truth or a Miz. Along those lines, I would like to see like mid-card and lower card performers get these one-off gimmick matches, to show off in a specific way.
Yeah, so I looked up the WWE's most ridiculous gimmick matches of all times. So if we want to go down that segue, so we have CM Punk and Chavo Guerrero in the Gulf of Mexico match. Basically, you win when you throw your partner into the Gulf. You have dumpster matches, kind of like poor man's casket match. You have Eric Rowan and the Big Show did a stairs match. Basically at TLC, so it was kind of tagline with tables, ladders, and chairs, and then they decided to throw stairs and using like literal stairs. You have Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, hardcore evening gown match. That's terrible.
Was that around the times when Pat Patterson
that won't
came
fly
out?
now. Yeah, this
You
was
know
like
what?
you said.
It might.
That wouldn't fly in nowadays because it'd probably be real people. So you have Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt in a House of Horrors match.
You know what?
You have
Pause
Battle
right
of
there.
the Billionaires.
I liked that Randy Orton Bray Wyatt match in that setting. I think that was during the. All right, so
it was.
It was like a cinematic match.
Yep.
I didn't mind that. I don't remember it 100%, but I also probably didn't mind it. But I digress. So I'm just saying that because I think there could be room for more gimmick matches.
Now, what about a hair versus hair match between Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
Um,
So
Just
I'm
say
looking at
Trump
WrestleMania
Trump
23
had one with
Battle of the
Vince at WrestleMania.
Battle of. I know that's what I'm looking at. So it's WrestleMania 23 Battle of the Billionaires.
Yeah,
yeah,
So-
I was
Except for with
there to
Biden,
see
be like
that.
Battle of the Diapers.
yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would
So
rather.
we have another
keep-
one, an Arkansas hog pen match between Triple H and Henry O. Goodwin. It literally
that
was
sound like a
literally
jobber
in
match.
they literally put this pig pen of a thing and they literally had them wrestle in it. So Al Snow and Big Boss Man in a Kennel from Hell match.
I remember.
And
I
I
remember
think-
that one.
I think that one was kind of a playoff. Like I think when they did the Pujami prison match, that's kind of where they kind of went with this one because it was kind of like when the doors close, you know, they have like 4 exits or whatever. I like the Pujami prison match. That thing is freaking insane.
Fucking Undertaker hated it.
So let's see. What? Oh my gosh! What kind of crap is this? Literally, British Bulldog versus The Rock in a dog poo match. I can't even
Didn't we
make this
just have something like that not too long ago? But it was a dog
dog
food
food?
match.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Yes.
Roman
Oh
Reigns.
my gosh!
and-
So wasn't that with the Shield?
no, it was Roman
they-
Reigns versus what's his face?
Like Baron Corbin
Baron
and something
Corbin.
else.
Baron
yeah.
Corbin.
And they got him back, I think. Yeah. Oh. So, and then let's see. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, ladder match for custody of Dominic.
So
Oh, man.
ridiculous. Where was more?
I
Korvich at that
honestly
time?
still think he's Eddie Guerrero's. I don't even care.
I'm gonna still say he
let's
is.
see.
Uh,
And then you have obviously Braun panties match will not happen because they're practically already wearing Braun panties anyways. So yeah, that's kind of the list of the one gimmicks that said that the worst gimmicks. But yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm all for some. You know, I feel like honestly too, the gimmick match would just be like a good icebreaker, a good funny moment. Like, you know, yeah. I think gimmicks would be kind of a comic relief. Like let R-Truth run the gimmick matches. Like give him
Mhm.
creative direction. Like just let him sit down at a table and just pontificate like possible
and we
gimmick
record
matches.
everything. We just broadcast
Oh my
everything
gosh,
that
dude.
comes out of his mouth.
That like oh, man. A Tom and
Somebody-
Nick match.
Yep. Yeah. Winner
No one
gets to
likes you,
find-
JD. A kick
Oh
him when
my
they're down
God.
match.
So
yeah,
SmackDown.
So
I'm done with gimmick matches now.
I wanted to give you your time because this
Thank
is a
you.
group effort.
I appreciate.
So now you have basically a triple threat for the Money Bank qualifying match. Obviously, LA Knight ends up pulling one over on Logan Paul, and Santos just kind of got caught in the middle. I had 0% chance that Santos was going to win. I feel like Logan, you already hold a title that you don't do anything with. What would you like wait like 12, 11 months and like 30 days to cash in Money in the Bank? So, I don't think Logan Paul having any more gold is going to do anything for anybody. So obviously LA Knight. And I'll tell you what, man, if they don't legitimately put a title on LA Knight in the next 6 months, man, and it's so hard because you have LA Knight, you have Carmelo Hayes, you have such a stacked Money in the Bank. You got LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, and Andrade, and then whoever wins the Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and Ilya Dragunov match. Which, dude, you
That's
put
gonna
any
be
of
a
them in there.
banger.
You put any of them in there, dude. Like
I think it's
I- and-
Ilya. I think it's Ilya.
I
I'm
think
gonna
they're
go.
they're-
I'm
I
going
mean,
with Sheamus.
So if you look closely at the women's has 2 upstarts from NXT, and so will the men's, which again is Ilya. So you have Carmelo Hayes and Ilya as the 2 NXT call-ups that are in the match, and they're usually good about balancing the books as far as matches. So yeah, Ilya's probably going to be there. Now, have you guys already seen the things with like basically Jey Uso holding Money in the Bank and all the Yeet case and stuff like that. It's like if they keep plastering that, like Jay's like you're just making us be like, okay, yeah, this ladder match ain't gonna mean nothing because clearly Jay's gonna win. You know, like you can't plaster that all over and
I
then
know,
have
I've
us
been
be
seeing it
surprised if Jay
everywhere.
wins. If Jay doesn't win, it'd be the greatest botch in WWE ever because they have plastered him all over social media with holding the Money in the Bank. So, I'm crossed between LA Knight and Jey Uso. Chad, no, he's got too much.
Yeah.
He's got too much going on with the Wyatt Six in his head. Andrade just got back, not really buying his stardom at this juncture. Carmelo Hayes, he's an upstart. He ain't getting nothing. I'm sorry. And so, you're basically stuck between LA Knight and Jey Uso. Those are my two possible winners because none of the other ones I'm not really buying. Andrade's barely even been on TV. I feel like they brought him back and they just pissed it away.
I think, with how big the roster is and what they're moving with, he's lucky to have gotten brought back. First of all,
But you
I
brought him
would,
back.
I would have,
But
you know what? I would have brought him back and had something for him, and they didn't. But also too, I think that is because of Charlotte. But I digress. I would rather see him performing somewhere where he can, really do some things and really shine, as opposed to him not, and he's just twiddling his thumbs and he's not happy. But he's got to make the best and most out of every situation that they give him, because it's rare that you get brought back to a company a second time, especially like WWE. Yeah, so with that being said, yeah, I'm going with Jay. I think Jay, unless there is like,
well, I think because LA Knight has too much beef with Logan Paul to win that
yeah,
championship and then go after the title. LA Knight's going after the US title at some point in the next couple Raw, Raw, SmackDown, whichever brand he's on. And yeah,
He's
Jay's
on
pretty
s-
much now.
He's on, I'm gonna
Now, I
say Logan and LA Knight will be at SummerSlam because it is in Logan Paul's hometown.
so let's play a little bit of pipe dream fantasy booking here. I know Frederick loves a good fantasy booking. Now, what would happen? What would happen if not Logan Paul? Sorry, what if Jey Uso, when he wins, you say when, if he cashes in, do you think who does he cash in on? Like, because he could go full flipsy and pin Cody Rhodes.
could.
So, would that like solidify? He's got the Yeet stuff going on, but like, if he wins, they're not going to have two face champions, right? So, or maybe he just beats him and just calls it a day, because he's essentially a face. So, but does a heel cash in on a face or does a face cash in on a heel?
Just
That is
depends on. It just depends on who's getting that call. Do I think if Jey Uso wins, who does he go after?
if Liv Morgan. No.
No,
Identify as a woman.
Man, I honestly, I think he goes after the world title, the world championship. I don't think he goes after the undisputed, because he's already on that brand, and there's a better
on SmackDown. And that would be right along line of the blood. Oh.
No, it wouldn't put him on SmackDown. That would put him on Raw because the world championship.
Never mind. Yeah, Cody's another one. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Man.
It's hard to keep it all straight. Yep. Yeah, I whoever wins, if they're on Raw, they go after the Raw championship. And that could be Gunther. No, is Gunther on SmackDown?
No, he's on Raw.
Oh.
I mean, But that's the thing is that yeah, he could hold out till in because he had those couple matches with Gunther, so it would only be fitting. But I don't think, man,
Man, it would have to be
I
an
don't think Jay
exceptional
I don't think he
story.
cashes in for at least 6 months. I feel
Yeah,
like he's gonna flaunt it because I'm sorry, dude, they're gonna give Gunther a run. I don't think they're gonna give him a Roman Reigns run,
Oh,
but
we
he
would have
definitely
to.
could.
We would have to. Oh man,
Because Gunther
See,
would have to get really.
It could
Gunther
go
was only
either.
lost like 3 or 4 times, and since he's been in the main roster.
So it could go one of two ways if Gunther has the championship. All right, hear me out. Gunther retains, gets to WrestleMania, defends. Jay tries to cash in on him, and Gunther and Jay have another match immediately after, and that doesn't go like 5 minutes. It's a damn near banger, and he beats Jay, and Jay loses. So that solidifies Gunther as like
But
the
would they?
man.
But would they want to put Jay in an L column though? Like I've said before, is that they maybe he just holds out like 6-8 months, and I feel like then that would lead you into basically WrestleMania. So
Yeah, I don't see.
I mean, so
I don't see Jay main eventing a WrestleMania. I see Jay, if anything, unseating someone at WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But having it either win or lose, it's made Jay to such a degree that he can say main event and it means something. Because I think that's been your biggest gripe, Seth, is that because Jay hasn't won those big ones and he doesn't have a championship, you can't really call him main event. I think you can still call him main event. It's one of those monikers where it's bragging rights. Every time he steps into the ring, it's main event. Lights are flashing, people are taking pictures, people are yeeting with him. So I get that, and he does have a main event vibe.
I just want him to like.
I get that.
I see him cashing in on SmackDown more than I do Raw, because anything can happen, and like the only thing where you see sometimes, like, you'll have, like, let's say there's a battle royal, right, and it has everybody in the show. It'll have a Raw and a SmackDown person at the end, right? But
Mhm.
I think that Jay, because I don't think I'm done with Cody being champion. I know that seems sacrilegious to say, but I'm done with
it's
Cody
not.
being champion in the
Cody-
sense of, like, I just,
Cody has not
it
had
circles
any,
back to the
like,
what now,
yeah.
and so I just want to
His
know.
matches are getting boring.
Well, and exactly, and I just think it's he reached what he wanted to reach, but like I'm not buying into him anymore. I mean,
He's got to
I
have.
would rather see Jay carry that thing for 3 to 4 months, than I would, Cody. I feel like because we've had the full Jay Uso experience, and obviously, like, Cody went through so many gimmick changes, which it's hard because, like, Jay has literally been Jay the whole time, whether it was the painted Usos or the down since day ones, or all of it. He's been the same level of talent and the opportunities and the championships as far as tag teams. He's always been up there, and so it's easy to say, hey, he could carry us to the next one. Where Cody was basically with multiple gimmicks that were very, very jobber-ish, and it's and I love Cody Rhodes. Don't get me wrong. I just think that
I'll be right back.
his whole thing coming back was to finish the story, and now we've finished the story. So now what? Like, I think that's gonna be my new shtick. Is now what? Because
So
you have
that can go, for me, that can go any number of ways. So is Cody boring? Yeah, he is. But it's a safe bet because sales, merch sales.
right.
People come to see him. same with Jay. People will come to see Jay, but probably not like they would come to see Cody. And that's just where we're at. Two, let's get through this 6-man tag match that they have with the Bloodline to see what story they lead us up to for the next pay-per-view or premium live event. And SummerSlam. I mean, we could get
load the shotgun, as it were.
Yeah, we could get a triple threat match for the undisputed title.
Right.
We definitely could. It could be KO and Randy versus for the and Cody, or it could be Randy and Cody, because Randy is due for a heel change. I mean, he can only be a babyface so long before he gets bored. That's just how he goes. So we've got to see what this Bloodline match gives us. If they all get their butts beat by the Bloodline, then we've got bigger problems. We've got more to seek out, because then we can have a solo match, and then it's two boring wrestlers going after a boring championship. And then we have more things to complain about, like grumpy old men. So I want to see how this goes. Again, Cody's run has been underwhelming. All right. I've not seen any real challengers. It's
hard. It's hard because and I feel like a lot of it is just how you carry yourself, right? Like the bravado and how you carry yourself as a champion. He looks more like a businessman than he does a legit champion.
I 100% agree with you.
And I'm all for the suit and tie look. And I get it, but it also waters down when you're in your ring clothes. Like, okay, we're still seeing kind of the businessman Cody. We're not really he's not stepping into the ring with all this bravado. He just does and that's about the extent of, people sing his music. It's great music. It's honestly some of the best music. It's just
he needs to see when he left WWE, and he's held a world champion, and I think it was Ring of Honor or something like that.
Ring of Honor. Yep.
And he didn't have no suits. He actually was his normal self.
He just dyed his hair black. He was a jerk. He was entitled. Even though he was claiming that he was elite. And but I digress. I don't have a problem with an athlete wanting to present themselves and dress a specific way. I think it shows a professionalism that other sports leagues would show. Like the NBA, you can't wear athletic gear when you're coming into the arenas and stuff like that. You've got to be presentable. Some premium athletes skirt the rule a little bit, but generally speaking, everyone's wearing a coat, tie. And I think that was an edict that was set down by the previous regimes, like, hey, show up like you would for an interview, show up, in business attire, carry yourself in business attire. And I don't think that that's bad. What I do think is that Cody is just boring. And there's no way of getting around that unless we get the black hair Cody.
If we get heel Cody.
Yeah, and the only way we'll know if we get in the heel Cody is if he shows up with black hair.
I mean, now that would be just insane. If you think he dyed the blonde hair, because he didn't want to do the blonde hair until whatever, his dad passing and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be a massive heel turn if he shows up with black hair, he's just wearing slacks with a black button-up shirt, no tie, 3 buttons down, showing a little man meat, and he's just carrying himself a whole different monster. Now that would be a pipe dream. I don't think it's gonna happen. He's too kiddie. He's too John Cena-esque.
You know what? That is, I think that is just his presentation right now. Do I think we can see that heel Cody? That's only if it makes sense for the story that they want to tell with Cody Rhodes. To be honest with you, Cody Rhodes' story isn't finished, or the story isn't done until he leaves WWE again. And I think that is him finishing the story. Part of me is also thinking that is the bigger picture. Finishing the story is for him to retire as a champion and move on in other places in his life and his career. I don't think he's a professional wrestler for in his 50s. I don't think that. I do think in the next 3 years he's probably done with the industry and he's moved on to other things. Yeah, I think that is him finishing the story. Him getting this championship was probably just the beginning.
Now, is it
And
finishing
this-
the story or just closing the book? Because it's,
And
there's
either
no
way.
real there's no chapters left. Like, I feel like we're reading the credits right now because, like, you've done what you've done, and
Mhm.
okay, cool, you did it. Congratulations, Rocky. Like, it's again, what now? Where do we go from? Okay, you finished the story.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
What if he did a Brody Lee tribute and retold some of the work he did with Brody Lee, and he loses the championship and just a one-sided ass whooping, and then he has to bounce back from that? Like, what is Cody Rhodes without a championship after he's had it? That is another part of the story.
Like the way
So-
he had that match with Brody Lee. How
Yeah,
he lost the TNT championship.
yeah, just a one-sided, and I think the only person that can give that to him is The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I think that Cody needs to kind of
And
just close the book, move on. I feel like
we'll eventually get there, but there's got to be something tying in with the bloodline that makes that happen. And I think that's with Solo. I think that's with a match with Solo where he almost loses to Solo. And it's just a numbers game. He can't outdo the numbers. With the whole bloodline, you just can't outdo the numbers. I mean, especially when, talking about, God's little brother showing up, who's bigger than both of those two dudes. And you've got the Samoan werewolf himself, Jacob Fatu. I'll keep it 100 with you. This is not your Roman Reigns bloodline. Okay? This isn't. But we've got to get through this next premium live event in order to see what they have planned for Cody, which I think is a solo match and then a Rock match. Then Cody loses the title, and then we get then it just goes back to being a full-fledged bloodline. And I think we'll wrap up the whole bloodline saga probably next year's WrestleMania afterwards.
So now that we've pretty much covered just about everything. So what do we get with now the bloodline basically giving the proverbial middle finger to Paul Heyman, putting him through a table? Do we see Paul disappear? Do we maybe see him disappear until SummerSlam, when all of a sudden he comes out and then Roman follows him? Like, he comes out, ladies and gentlemen, and then all of a sudden, and then he goes into a spiel,
Here's
I'm
the
the wise man for the one true tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And then his music hits, dude, and everybody loses their freaking minds.
Oh, is this at SummerSlam?
Yes.
That's SummerSlam, because
No.
you basically you're basically Paul's gonna get written off for a couple weeks, I would say. Bloodline's gonna kind of do their thing. I really think there's
I'm gonna
not
say
a
it's
better.
I'm gonna say that Money in the Bank, because of you got
Is it gonna
Solo and
be-
those match.
Is there gonna be instant retaliation?
Maybe.
I don't think anything noteworthy goes down other than the Bloodline beating Cody, KO, and Randy Orton. I do think Heyman goes into Harbinger mode, which means he's like warning the Bloodline, you done messed up, you know. And then I'm gonna say it now. I think what we get at SummerSlam, we do get some Roman Reigns, but we also get The Rock, and we find out that The Rock has been behind this new bloodline. Plain and simple. I don't think the world is ready for that. I think we get this new bloodline. I think Jacob Fatu leaves Solo. And then it's all the indie guys versus all the WWE guys.
Now,
So
if you kind of look how when Jacob Fatu came out and basically just destroyed everybody, and there was a little bit of hesitant. Oh, I can't even say it.
hesitancy.
Yeah, there you go. See, and they were very hesitant. They kind of slowly did it. Do you think
They looked at each other when they were like,
Do you think that it's vice versa, where Jacob Fatu stays and the other two leave?
So I don't think the other two leave. I think Jimmy and Jay come back for Roman. I think Paul Heyman leads them, and I think Jacob probably jumps ship over to Roman's side, and because Tama and Tonga's brother shows up and joins, so we'll have a 5-man bloodline, and then it'll balance itself out, and probably something along the lines of Survivor Series. We get that.
you
like,
talking about their one brother that's like, I think about 7 foot,
yeah,
tall ass
yeah.
dude.
I can't pronounce his name.
I can't even
Yeah.
pronounce it.
I think it's
I just know he's 7 foot.
yeah.
I mean, so I think honestly, like, I mean, we're at like a minute or an hour 17 here, but
We're
I
there
think
now. I
honestly-
mean, let's just go for it.
I really think, you know, in the next couple weeks, you know, I'll say into the I'd say, now what if Roman returns the Raw or like the SmackDown after Money in the Bank? Like maybe we get one of those, something happens after the PLE versus at the PLE, because we get those all the time. We get those.
Yeah, we do.
So maybe the show ends with, let's say, you know, the Bloodline is talking it up and talking about like their great victory at Money in the Bank, and Roman comes out with Paul Heyman and the Usos.
I could do that.
Pipe dream. Like that's like, that would be my like specific, like that'd be what I would love to see. Will we see it? I probably not. But like, you know, I think the fact that Roman goes face, the Usos will you know, Jimmy will go face, Jay's already face. Let's say Jay holds the Money in the Bank, you know, and beats the hell out of him with it. And the show ends with Roman and Jimmy and Jay standing strong. Just a pipe dream, but I digress. But I mean,
I kind of see it. I could kind of see that happening.
I think that sounds like WWE
They've been-
writing to me.
Because you got a lot of these people making fan pictures and stuff of Survivor Series with The Rock controlling Solo's team and then Roman controlling his team. I can kind of see that. I could see where they're coming from. I could definitely see that.
Or maybe Zilla Fatu shows up for Roman.
I think the more Bloodline members are going to show up sooner rather than later.
This
I
whole
don't think they're even close to being. I'd say they're like half capacity right now for what bloodline members can come. And I'm not going to say they're all going to join the same bloodline, but I feel like we're going to get, let's call it a month. So we'll say like we'll say leading up to SummerSlam, right? We're going to get some more bloodline people, and they might be very much so divided. So, I
you're gonna
think
have your heel in your
that sounds
face.
like WWE writing to me, but
I don't know.
we'll
this
put a
is-
proverbial pin in this. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
This is just my opinion. I'm just getting really tired of seeing so many damn Samoans.
I'm not.
It's feel like WWE is becoming
think
a
we can have a whole
Samoan
show.
company.
I think we can have an entire show. I think it's great for representation. I think it's great to see this level of diversity in the company. They all work their asses off to get there. I'm not mad about it. What I am mad about is that we're probably going to run out of Samoan Dynasty, and then we'll have to wait another 20 or 30 years before the kids to be grow up and like pursue professional wrestling as their blood right. So yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah. So we got to look to see if we're running out of Rikishi relatives and Haku relatives too. So maybe that's something we can research too.
Yeah.
I would love to see Richie back.
Yeah, and
Who back?
definitely shout out to, honestly, the Anoa'i family. So definitely, it's kind of an
It's-
inevitable, but like, it does, death does not matter like when it happens. It just like it's
Yep.
down to happen, and it's just, it sucks when it does, especially, when you look at, essentially the Wild Samoans. Basically, they're like the pinnacle, outside of the High Chief, that are basically running the bloodline. And so, to see essentially one of those pillars fall,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Facts.
But
yeah, it does. Yep.
so we'll just put a pin in this, and we'll see what Monday Night Raw brings, what Friday Night SmackDown brings, and then we'll pretty much, next Sunday we'll be basically 24 hours removed from Money in the Bank. Definitely discuss that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, and that's all we can do is watch it and just see what happens, because we don't know. It's the reality of what we want and what we get are two different things. But
Yep.
sometimes what we get is actually what we really wanted, or the things we're like, I don't know about that. But then when it happens, you get it.
Mhm.
It's awesome. It's exciting. So yeah, that's it for today. So I just, again, hopefully you like, subscribe, all that doodad. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.